Hello, good morning and welcome to the deck, which we've turned into a kind of temporary workshop space for today's project, or for however many days it takes us to build it. We're going to attempt to build a piece of furniture for our kitchen out of scrap. We have some ideas, we've sort of got a plan, and so let's see what happens. Are you inspecting your scrap?
I am. If you've been following us for any length of time, you will remember that we pulled out some old rotten joists.
It's moving, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And replaced them.
Got a hand on it. Oh,
Oops. Get your hand in. Made a rather large mistake. So pulled them out again and put some new ones in. These are the ones that have the mistake in them, and so I'm going to use them now to make table legs. This is our first piece of, I'm going to use the word furniture, but that's a rough word for what we're doing.
It's a very generous term, I would say.
But we're going to try and make a peninsula island thing for the kitchen as a prototype for the eventual one when I actually have some woodworking skills. Is that at full depth?
Yeah. So I think we should rip them first, and then we'll be able to take the ends off on the chop saw.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, we have done some table sawing and some chop sawing, and we are going to end up with some material like this for the legs of our table. And so now it's time to talk about joinery, which is a word I don't think we have ever used before.
So in an effort to always be improving our skills, particularly our woodworking skills, we don't just want to do butt joins, because we actually did consider pocket screws and then decided no, we can do better than that. So we're going to try, I don't even know what it's called in joinery, I'm going to say kind of a half lap technique. So this is our post, and then we have two aprons. And we're going to make both of these pieces of timber sit onto the legs so that the weight of the table is bearing down rather than just being hung off a couple of screws. So the first thing is, this is the front edge of this table, and we're going to line it up with this back edge of the leg, which gives this nice little setback detail. And then we need to do the same thing on the side, which means this is too thick. So first of all, we need to rip these so that they have the exact same setback. So the series of cuts looks like this. We're going to take away this section
Of the leg.
By the time we rip this guy so that he has the same offset, it'll be this piece of timber. So then and this is what we're going to cut from this one. So there's no cutting from this guy. This one will then slide in like this, and this one will then slide in like this. That's the plan. All right, let's get to ripping.
Wonderful. One thing that we don't have is a tenon saw.
No, we do not. We do not.
We do not.
Oh, look at that.
Keep that away from me.
Right.
Not only will I damage it, I will probably injure myself. I think you also need a proper mallet.
Yeah. Couldn't be asked walking back to the house.
No, you need a wooden one for chiseling. Just because you're going to damage the nice end on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people say all the time. Don't damage the end. And, I mean, what's it useful for, other than looking pretty?
Tell you what, having a sharp chisel makes this actually possible.
Doesn't it?
It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. At first I wanted to just see if these two fit together,
Oh, alright.
because otherwise...
I mean, they're a bit rustic.
It's all going to be hidden though, because...
It is, that's what this nice piece is for.
So this one might be a bit long, we can just either sand it down or trim it on the chop saw. Okay, well that's a good start.
Can you take your piece out
Yep.
first? Doesn't my piece go like this?
Does it do that?
Yeah, so we definitely need to trim that piece off first.
Yep.
Because there's this gap here. Oh, the wind. I need a workshop. We should definitely do a bingo card.
What is that expression?
What do people say? Bingo card or a drinking game? What do you prefer? Maybe we'll have it out by Christmas. Yep, ease back a bit so I can get in. Yep, and then push.
Cool. Ooh, look at that.
I have a question for you. How are we going to attach these if we don't use glue?
I think we're going to end up using glue.
Dowels would have been so much easier. I mean, this piece feels like it doesn't have... does it have enough support? Maybe. It would have been better if a tiny bit of this was sitting on there.
Oh, that's still an option. Yeah, I see what you mean. So do you think that was any faster, easier, better, or anything else?
Much faster.
It's kind of like a workshop. Isn't it?
I feel like I need to go and watch Chiseling 101. Chiseling for Dummies. I probably need to do the table sawing basics course as well. Actually, all of the courses on, by courses I say, YouTube University courses. And then maybe do a couple of like these beginner projects that you're meant to do. Like you used to do in high school. I'm sure I made a little wooden box with some dovetails and all that kind of stuff.
I made a pencil case.
Pencil case.
With a sliding top.
Nice.
And I made a small table with mortise and tenons.
Ooh. More than I did. I can only remember making a wooden box.
Right, it is time for our favourite part of any project, which is the undo redo. It turns out that the approach that we have taken here, or specifically the approach that I suggested here, was somewhat flawed from the beginning for a number of reasons. Primarily being my skill level, secondly being my measuring ability, and third, our desire to learn things prematurely. And I guess what I mean by that is we always like to push ourselves to try new techniques, learn new things, try working with new tools and stuff like that. And sometimes we do that before we are ready, or before we have all the right tools or all the right knowledge and experience and stuff like that. And so essentially what I have built in the last day or so is 4 pieces of wood with some very complicated notches on the ends of them that don't fit together. And there's many reasons why they don't all fit together, but the short version is they do not. And so, in the spirit of progress and keeping things simple, we have come up with a new plan, which is to make a much simpler frame and then sit into the lovely leg pieces that Kylie has been working on with much more care and attention than I have been working on things. And hopefully what this means is we'll actually make more progress. We'll take a jump forward, even though we have to go and undo and redo. So I thought I would just share that with you, because that is what we do in these videos. We bring you the reality of people learning as they go. We still have the same goal in mind. We still want it to function the same way. We still want it to look nice, but the approach we took first is just not going to work. You've literally just chopped off all of my hard work. So I think we're going to go something like this.
It's a much simpler build than
This
your
is so much
fancy
simpler.
idea.
So much simpler. Simple things, simply the best. But look at this. I actually think the dimension of this timber is more suitable as well. Like the height is the same, like this way, but the thickness is better. Sometimes you have
Thicker
to,
isn't better.
in this
Just
case,
saying.
in this
I don't
case,
think thicker is
thinner
better.
is better.
Yes.
In this case. So some good news. We have worked out our nice simple frame. It sits within the legs wonderfully. We've also had to think about how we're going to do some shelving.
Sorry.
And things are going in a much more positive direction. There is still an opportunity for trying something new as well, which hopefully doesn't bite us in the arse like the last thing that we tried to do new. We want to learn some proper joinery techniques, which we're perhaps not ready for. But something that I think we are ready for is joining things together with dowels rather than screws. So it should be stronger. It will also mean that we can kind of push fit everything together and check that it is the way that we want it and it's all square and stuff, rather than just driving a bunch of screws in and then hoping it was right in the first place. So we've got some dowels. We've got some dowel markers. So you stick these in the holes that you've drilled out and it's got like a little point on the end to show where the corresponding dowel hole should be. I think we're ready for this, but only time will tell. I think that's okay.
Oh, look at you.
158. 158. Doesn't get much more square than that. Getting good at this building stuff.
Are you? Are you indeed?
No, not really. I think the thing I like about woodworking is buying all the gadgets.
That's what you like about every hobby.
Yeah, you should see my brewery.
I know, I have.
I need to work out how these work.
I need to change into shorts now.
Who's got jeans on?
Yeah, well, this morning it was quite cool and windy and stuff.
Yeah, it was. I guess that's how it works.
Yeah, you have that one.
I do, yes.
Hold on. Go, go.
A bit like that.
Bit like that.
So it's going to hold it in place
Yeah.
nicely.
And that's when, which one was loose? This one. By the time you bring it up to here, it might actually be,
Cool.
yeah.
So we are almost at the end of day 2, and we have made some really good progress today, including a significant design improvement, which is very cool. We've got all the pieces cut for the aprons, the shelf stretchers on 2 layers, the 4 legs with all of the kind of corner bits hollowed out of them, and everything fits together quite nicely. Before we wrap up today, we're going to look at one last thing, which is the shelf material. Now this is another classic reuse of scrap. We're going to be using the old floorboards that we've ripped up from upstairs in the house. And they are going to be like slats for the shelves. Later on, we're going to make some boxes or get some baskets or something like that that sit onto these shelves so that stuff doesn't fall through the gaps. But we'll probably get to that at some point in the future. Anyway, Kylie has gone off to do some rummaging in the storeroom. Let's go and have a look. Oh, she's not here. Anyway, this is the wood that we're going to be using. Ah, there you are. You found some floorboards. Mm-hmm. Where were they?
Upstairs.
Aha. Excellent. I've got a load more 68s here. I've got a load more 68s. Cool. So in an effort to be efficient and batch things up, we marked the first set of legs with the first long sidey piece, or stretcher as I think it is called, and then we marked the other set of legs with the same stretcher. But because all of the dowel points are in slightly different locations, they're not far off, but they're far off enough that of course the second set of legs should have been marked with its corresponding stretcher. So because they're only off by a little bit, we're actually going to need to plug these holes with a dowel and some glue, let it dry, cut it flush, and then drill the holes again. So put me out of my misery. How long does this glue take to dry?
I don't know, but it causes skin irritation and serious eye irritation.
Okay, don't glue your eyes together then.
Yeah, okay.
I think you were right about needing more coffee before we did this kind of work.
Always more coffee. I would say stick it in, put a little clamp on it for 30 minutes, or even an hour while we do the other bits, and then we come back to it and see if it's dry enough.
I don't think that needs clamping.
I think you're right.
I think it's time for you to play with a new toy.
Yeah, I was going to say sometimes we don't have the right tools on hand and we have to go and order them and wait or go and find them. Sometimes we buy things way prematurely. This saw is a said example. We bought this about 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, thinking we were going to get around to doing some carpentry. Then we got delayed by lime creep floors and God knows what. So now we get to use it.
Can you explain what it is and what it is used for?
It is a Japanese flush trim saw. It is used for going right up against a piece of wood and trimming stuff off so that there's no overhang. Looks a treat.
That's brilliant.
Okay.
Can't believe that works so well. It's amazing. Very cool. Shall we lift it up like this and into place?
So do you know which corners go where? Did you, even in your mind, keep a track of what goes where? No.
No.
Okay. They need to have some clamps on them.
Well, it's certainly getting more table-like. Yes, I should probably be using a mallet.
It's arriving tomorrow.
Oh, good. Ooh, a bit tight. Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, a bit tight. So we've got a pretty good dry fit, and I need to take all this apart and sand every single piece on every single face. We're going to be painting all of the structure. I believe the plan is still to stain and hard wax oil all of the slats and the tabletop with like a walnut stain using some Van Dyke crystals. And we still have to do all the glue up and stuff like that. But it's coming together really well. Opa! That was intentional. Whew. Really jammed that one in there. Okay, we've made some good progress today, but it looks like it's going to rain soon. So we've taken all of the parts inside and we're going to start the gluing up process in there. But whilst we've got the tabletop out here under the umbrella, and whilst it is not raining yet, we're going to try and get our first coat of stain on this. Now we're going to be using something that we've used before in the kitchen to stain some of the lintels and the pole in the middle of the room. Something called Van Dyke crystals, which are the ground up shells of walnut husks. So it's a natural dye or pigment, or whatever the right word is, and it can be used for staining wood. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. This is almost not going to look like it was a piece of shuttering ply by the time we're finished with it. It's amazing what you can make out of scrap. This is why we need another work table, because doing this on the floor is not much fun. So, in terms of the glue then, you glue the dowels into the pieces as well as the pieces onto the pieces.
Correct. Are they all the same size dowels? This particular...
These ones are all 8mm dowels.
Okay. Do you have a brush?
Do we have any brushes?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like that.
Okay.
And then clamp and clamp. Okay.
Can't see well enough up here. Are they not meant to go underneath?
I don't know. They can. That is the first time we have ever done a glue up.
And we were not very well prepared. No, put the clamps on first and then check for screw. So, no.
Like that. Nice one.
Yep, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, let's try it. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I think that went well. Wonderful.
Is put these on their side. Both of us glue those up. So dab some in.
On these first?
Yeah.
On the long ones first, okay.
Inside, put the dowels in, and then use any squeeze out
Okay,
to
yep.
do the thing.
Cool.
And then do these next.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay, now I'm going.
Okay.
You right?
Yeah, maybe it was right before.
Oh, come on.
Yep.
Speak. What needs to happen?
It's not square, but I don't know how to make it square.
The pole. Move the whole thing over. You move backwards around the box.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep. Tighten her up. I don't know how to work these clamps. I can't get them to work. I think that's the best I'm going to get.
Okay. Okay.
Fill your holes.
Yep.
You just slide. Not that bad. That's roll. Yep. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, stick it in the end. So how does this work?
So we're going to have to go, if you take that end,
Yeah.
and I'll take this end, and we have to use all of our hands.
Just doesn't seem to be working.
Yep, that looks good. Are you in? Are you tight?
Yeah.
Feeling good? Okay.
Alright, you check for square while I wipe up some excess.
So, this is our final. I'll put a mark on one of these corners. This one here. So I know what goes where. dry fit. You got it?
You get your end in.
Yep. Your end should go in nice and easily.
Yeah, look at that.
Beautiful.
Wowzers. That's going to be one stir. It's big.
Good. I've got lots of things to cook. Wow, listen to that rain.
It's
That
crazy.
is just crazy. Okay.
Put them just on the side, yeah. So we can use this one, which is probably better because it's slightly bigger. All right. And then you can start doing your other corners
What do you mean the other corners?
on the frame.
Do you do both sides?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Have you not been?
No, I have been, but I thought we were just being like overly cautious.
No,
I
you
didn't
meant to
realise
do
it was a
both because they
thing.
bond together.
Oh, okay. Tight bond. I guess the clue's in the name, isn't it?
Sometimes I wonder about your
Knowledge?
declamation that you say you're quite smart.
Well,
Because
I've not thought about this before. I didn't realise that it was a two-sided gluing situation.
I mean, I don't think it has to be,
Well, there you go then.
but it's for bonding, which
Well, let me give you a hug then.
please don't.
Shitbag. The lovely people are going to tell us who is right and who is wrong.
So just rest it up on top
Yep.
so we can.
Okay, we can
Can
do
you
it.
one-handed do your other corner? Yep. I'm sure we're overdoing it.
I think we're overdoing it. Overdoing it, overthinking it, as usual. Let me get this end in because
you
it's
end in
tighter.
first. Okay.
Oh no, oh, that's pretty good now.
Tell me.
Yep, let's go.
Yep.
Ready?
In.
Yeah. Nice.
We really need internal stairs.
What we do now, yeah. We'll get there. I mean, now that we've built this very simple table, I think we're ready to build a staircase.
You think?
Well, look at that. Very cool. Now, as we've been building this table, we've been sharing the progress inside of the Make Do Grow Club, which is kind of like our Patreon, but a bit different and a bit more interactive. We put a lot of extra content and stuff in there, and we shared some of the progress of the table build. And one of our members said, you have to do the Wobble test. Now, I don't know what the Wobble test is, but I can only assume that it is something a bit like this. So there you go, Caroline, that is for you. And if you want to get more behind the scenes, more content, and hang out with a bunch of people just like us, then join the club. There's a link in the description. Anyway, that's enough self-promotion for now. I think I'm going to try and sand off some of this squeeze out and then get a coat of paint on this. I also apologise for the background noise. We have some furry friends in the house. Oh, this is going to take some coats.
Is there a right way and a wrong way for the table?
I think you have the back.
Now how are we gonna, so because it's not as long as the one we're eventually gonna build, do you want it shuffled all the way up that way?
Well, we'll work out how much it's going to go that way when we put the tabletop on.
A bit tight. Maybe we don't need to finish those other couple that we didn't finish. Which is the top and which is the bottom?
So facing me is the top. Okay, like that. Lovely. So what do you think of our handiwork?
For a first piece of furniture, it's not bad, hey? Rustic build, it's big, which is good from a storage and usability perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's more than just a worktop. There's definitely space to put things.
And the slats turn out really good. So yeah, now I want to make many other pieces of furniture in here.
Yes, I've already started designing on paper like a mobile kitchen cart for spice storage and oils and vinegars and stuff like that, because at the moment they're just on some open shelves. But yeah, this was actually a really fun project. A little frustrating at times, mostly frustration with myself for my lack of skills or lack of patience or lack of whatever it is that I am lacking. But yeah, I think it's turned out really well. Most importantly, it's functional. Also importantly, it looks pretty good. We definitely learned a lot of things. It was good to work with the dowels. I really enjoyed that. Our first glue up, which we have a lot to learn about, but again, successful. I've also learned that I really like to design stuff in 3D on the computer before we jump into building, because it helps me see ahead some of the potential problems. Kylie doesn't care for that so much, but it really helps me. Maybe Kylie learned some things too.
So I think the biggest thing, which is always something that we do, is we're a little bit ambitious to begin with. We should have just been focusing on dowel construction from the get-go. Would have been a lot easier. And again, as normal, I mean, we've watched years worth of woodworking videos, and you look at it and you think, yeah, that seems fairly straightforward. That looks pretty easy. I could probably do that. And then you go to do it and you're like, oh my God, this is really quite difficult. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not that we don't know what we're doing. We know what to do, but I don't know how to do it.
And how to do it efficiently.
Yeah, and we don't have the right tools for sure. So we considered before we built this buying a thicknesser planer, and I'm putting it off until we have somewhere to store it. But it has really taught us that if we want to get better at milling timber up, we need a thicknesser planer. It has highlighted to us the things that we might need in the future if we want to continue to build better furniture than this. And of course, we will only get better by doing it. But yeah, it's really good. It's impressive to look at, just don't look too closely. And we totally underestimated the amount of time for the sanding, the staining, the painting, the drying, as usual. So that was also really good to learn that actually takes the longest part of the whole process. The actual construction part was 2.5 days work. And then there was many, many more days of sanding and staining and painting and drying.
Yeah, so all in all, good fun, good result, and I think pretty impressive for a load of scrap. and we always like to reuse stuff as much as possible. And the fact that we made this table out of some old joists that were a mistake from a previous video and the old floorboards from upstairs, I mean, if someone pointed me at that pile of wood outside and said, "You're going to make a really nice table out of that," I would probably have laughed. In fact, I think I might have when Kylie suggested it originally. Anyway, that is it for today. But for our regular viewers, we have one last thing to show you. And it's been something that people have been asking for a long time.
We've had many, many comments, probably over the last 6 months, asking for updates on the kittens, who are now cats. They have not been living here while we have been plastering and doing all the things because lime and cats do not go very well. But they are now here. They've been here for 2 days. They are just indoors while they are getting used to this space. And while we were filming this and putting this together, we put them back in their little cat tent. So let's go and let them out. They can check out the new table themselves, and you can check out how big they are now.
I bet they're going to jump on it.
Yeah, for sure. Come and look at our excellent new table. Come on, Maka. Oh, did we wake you up? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's coming. What happened? Hey.
Well, they always say don't work with children or animals, and I can only imagine that's because they never do what you want them to do. But anyway, the kittens are here, and we have a table, which is very exciting. But I think we'll leave it there for now. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.